Hey everybody, I'm going to real quickly go through a video, just give some Bible verses that back the mid-trib rapture. Um, this mid-trib is based on a 7-year tribulation period, um, which I will cover in another video about what the true 7-year tribulation period really is. But I want to make this clear right here. Matthew 24:15, Jesus is saying that when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. Now this abomination is the Antichrist, who's going to make an image to himself. He's going to stand in the holy place. Okay? And that is spoken of by Daniel the prophet. So Jesus makes it clear to go to Daniel the prophet for understanding. So when we go to Daniel, we look at Daniel 9:27, and he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. This is talking about he will confirm a covenant for a 7-year period that will last 7 years. But I will talk about that in another video. But in the middle of the week, in the middle of the 7-year period, he will cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. Okay, in Matthew 24:15, Jesus says that. When we go back to Matthew 24, right after the abomination is set up, as Jesus mentions here, right after that Jesus says, then let them be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop come not down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter nor on the Sabbath. Now Jesus is saying that when you see the abomination of desolation set up in the middle of the tribulation, we know that that's in the midst of the week, the 1 week, the final 7 years. That's 3.5 years into the midst of the into the 1 week, the 7-year period. That's when all those who are in Judea need to flee into the mountains. Okay, it's a very important time. The fleeing is Revelation 12:6. It's the vision that John has of the dragon. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there for 1,260 days. That's 1,260 days. Okay, 1,260 days is exactly 3.5 years, based on a 30-day month calendar, the Jewish calendar. So that's a lunar. That's a lunar month. So that's 29.5 lunar days. I'm sorry, solar days per month. So 1,260 days. Okay, they are to flee into the wilderness, where they will be protected by God for 1,260 days. Okay, God is protecting them for that long. Going back to Matthew 24. Okay, now this is right after Jesus tells them, after the abomination, flee into the wilderness. Okay, and we know that when they flee, they will be protected for 1,260 days. But Matthew 24, going back here, that's just talking about the woman fleeing. Right after where they will be protected, it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Jesus is saying, for then shall be great tribulation. Okay, talking about after the abomination is set up. So let's go back to Matthew 24:15 and read this. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place, let all them who are in Judea flee to the mountains. For then there will be great tribulation at that time, when the abomination is set up. Okay? When we look at that, this exact same phrase that Jesus mentions is pulled from Daniel 12:1 and 2. Now this right here, let me read this to you. And at that time, this is 12:1, shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stands for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since the nation, even to that same time. Now that's what Jesus was saying. Okay? For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of this time. That's at the midpoint. At the midpoint of the tribulation this happens, after the 3.5 years. And then it says, and there shall be such a time of trouble, such as never was a nation even to that time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Okay? Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Everyone who is found written in the book will be delivered at that time. It's at the time of the midpoint of the tribulation. And then furthermore, it goes on to say, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life and some to everlasting contempt. I think that's really, really important to notice, because we know, I just proved that we know that this time of trouble happens right after the midpoint of the tribulation. The midpoint is when the abomination is set up, okay? And then also when all the that are in Judea are told to flee into the mountains where they'll be protected for 1260 days. Those are people who do not know the Lord. We know that because in Daniel 12:1 and 2 it says, at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone who is found written in the book. Those who are in Judea are not written in the book, otherwise they would be taken as well. They are not Messianic Jews. I believe those are the Jewish people who are the original state of Israel. And God created a covenant with Abraham that he will protect them. So God is doing that here. But he is going to deliver, and everyone that is found written in the book shall be delivered. Very important. Furthermore, it says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Okay, now that's interesting, because if you look at Matthew 27, this is after Jesus died, on the cross, after Jesus died, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection. That's cool. And went into the holy city and appeared unto many. This is after Christ was raised from the dead. After he rose, many bodies of the saints which slept, they arose also. That is neat, because up here in Daniel 12, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame and contempt. So this is interesting now. This is proof that at that time, the midpoint of the tribulation, the final 7 years, 1260 days into the tribulation, many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Thy people will be delivered, everyone who is found written in the book. Heads up on that. Pretty good information.